Good afternoon. Thanks everyone for joining the session today. My name is Tawfik. I'm going to present you a quick overview about ChatOps, what ChatOps is, why they are important, and we are going to take you through some of the use cases that we have delivered recently to one of our customers in Middle East using ChatOps. And it's a pretty interesting. I would like to thank you again for attending this session, where we have very interesting other sessions going on. So let's keep it going, right? So this is our agenda for today. We are going to talk about what is ChatOps, the definition of a ChatOps, how it came to the picture, how it came to this domain or industry, why it's important, and we are going to give a bit of deep dive into the integration between Webex Chatbot and the NSO. I have seen in other sessions already, some people are using the bidirectional integration or notification mechanism from Webex to notify the team about it. So we are going to talk about the different integration methodologies. We are also discussing the other way around, how you can manage NSO using Chatbot, not only to get the notification. We are going to explain the integration steps, what tools that you will be using, what are the integration steps, what you need to do to achieve this kind of integration. Then we are going to give a quick demo for a use case that we have delivered recently called port reservation cleanup. This use case is heavily used by the operation team, but we wanted to have it more interactive, exposing this use case through the Webex teams. Okay, so what ChatOps? ChatOps basically is the flow of interactions between the operation teams or DevOps teams via a chat application or chat client or any collaboration tool towards the system or to the network, right? On the other side, we have the bot, which is the core element of the ChatOps chatbot, which is basically responding to the operation teams and DevOps teams with the available services or information from the network that they are being exposed by the system through different integration points, right? So the definition of ChatOps came to the picture first time maybe in 2010 by GitHub, where they have identified ChatOps as basically bringing tools to the conversation, as simple as that, right? So while you are having a conversation on a chat application, you will be able also to instruct the system or the network to do some actions or to pull some information from it, right? So as you can see on this picture, we have four main elements or main entities that are contributing to this concept or ecosystem. We have the DevOps teams or the operation teams who are managing the network, firing a request towards the network, either to provision or to orchestrate something or to retrieve information from the system. We have the chat clients, and we have different options of chat clients that can be used. We are going to use today Webex Teams, but we have other options that can be used like HipChat, like Microsoft Teams, Slack, Telegram, any other chat application or client that can be used also. And the bot frameworks, we have different also set of bot frameworks, different programming languages that will offer a good variety for the team to choose and use. So we are going to use today also Webex Chatbot, but there is HuBot, Lita, and AirBot that we are going also to discuss, give a quick introduction about them on the coming slides. For the infrastructure, this is the aim, right? We need to have all of this integration towards the infrastructure. This infrastructure could be managed by any EMS or NMS system or any orchestration or configuration tool like NSO. This is our example for today. We can also use Jenkins, you can use Ansible, you can use Terraform, you can use AWS, you can use any infrastructure system or management system for this integration. Okay, so what is the bot? The bot is the core of this integration or ecosystem, right? So the bot is the entity that facilitates that bidirectional integration between the collaboration teams or the operation teams and the infrastructure. And and as we mentioned, we have different options for the bots. We have HuBot. HuBot was developed by GitHub, and it's developed using CoffeeScript Node.js. And it also comes with predefined scripts or microservices that can be, or plugins that can be easily integrated into different chat applications that can offer you a quick way to automate some of the routines of daily activities. You have also Lita. Lita is actually a replication of HuBot, but this is developed by Ruby. by community contributors to replicate the functionalities that have been developed for HuBot, but in Ruby. We have Airpot. Airpot is one of the widely used bots in this ecosystem, and it's why? Because it's developed in Python, right? So in Python we have much bigger community, and this is widely used. It also comes with predefined and pre-built plugins for different chat applications like Slack, Telegram, and the HipChat. And obviously we have Python. By the way, also Airpot is developed. There is some integration, pre-built integrations also with HipChat and Microsoft Teams. So this is also very convenient if you are going to use Microsoft Teams. Webex Chat or Webex Chatbot is the obvious option that we are going to use if we have some integrations with Cisco systems like NSO or CNC or any other tool. And this is developed in Node.js. Of course, it's maintained and developed by Cisco, and it has the main feature that it provides. It gives a GUI interface to build these bots. Right? You can go to the GUI or portal. You can develop your own, or you can build your own bot very easily. Okay, so why chatbot or why ChatOps definition is important, right? So I have been working with Cisco for the last 7 years. I have been in this industry for maybe last 16 years or 15 years. I have dealt with lots of customers and organizations, and I can see that the customer is spending lots of money and time to develop or ask Cisco, or they even develop it on site, to develop new use cases or system that help the operation team to automate and facilitate services. But at the end, we are not seeing very high rates of adoption, right? We are not seeing these services or use cases are being used as we expected or as we aimed for. This is because different reasons. Some of the reasons are because of the complexity of the CLIs that we are offering, the complexity of the use cases, number of inputs that will be required, or the new GUIs or interfaces that we are providing to the customer. So it will be difficult for them to understand, or it will require some skills to be gained or learned from the operation team, that's why we're having a high level of resistance sometimes. What ChatOps benefits and how it will be able to resolve this issue or to have a higher rates of adoption. First of all, ChatOps doesn't require any kind of learning or skills. You just need to be able to use your phone or laptop, right? And everyone knows. You will be able to use it from anywhere, anytime. You can use it at your car, at home, at the park, at the zoo with the kids, anywhere. And it also empowers people, right? So whenever we have new joiners to the team, or the operation teams or DevOps teams who doesn't have enough knowledge or experience about network, how they can provision services, how they can deal with a specific or urgent task, right? This is empowering the people, right? So you just automate the service, you automate the task, and ask the people to use it from the chat, right? You just need to write help, then the chatbot will be responding to you with the available services or information. This also gives real-time visibility on the system. At any time, for example, for the executive level, at any time they can look at the system, the chatbot. They can see, for example, the utilization of the appearing links, the utilization of the core links. If they have any problem, we can develop some kind of dashboard or information that would be very highly and easily accessible to the team. Okay, so in this session, we are going to focus more into one kind of a ChatOps, which is using Webex Chatbot and the NSO. And as we mentioned, we have seen some out-of-the-box even functionality on, for example, GitLab or GitHub that enables you to have notification mechanism on Webex rooms, right? Webex team rooms. For example, if you have a successful build, or if you have an error on the merge or whatever, you can get notification, right? But here we want to discover new type of integration. In this session, we are going to discuss how we can use the ChatOps to ask the NSO to do a specific action, to take action towards the network, right? To instruct NSO to do, for example, to provision a service or to change some of the configuration of the network. So, and this integration gives you a new interface to the NSO, as we mentioned. So not only the CLI or normal portals, now you will have the chat also that can be used. You will automate the operation daily activities, as we mentioned, to empower the team. And this is also low cost but big value, right? No cost in terms of no new servers need to be added to the data center. Webex Chatbot is free of cost. You can log in and create your own account and create your own bot. So what are the tools that we are going to use? We are going to use Ngrok. Ngrok is a cross-functional or cross-platform solution or framework that will be exposing your local server to the internet, right? This is used by, this is required because the chatbot application needs to be able to reach your local development server, right? And this will not be easily available. That's why Ngrok is bypassing or doing a tunnel between your local development server and the internet. So the chatbot on cloud, you will be able to access your development. And we're going to explain this in detail. Of course, you need NSO. So this is your provisioning or orchestration tool. You can have it anything else. But this is in our example, Python. This will be required to develop very simple Webex backend point, right, or integration point, and we need the Webex Teams SDK or bot that will be allowing you to create spaces, to send messages, to assign tasks, to add members to specific teams, or to send an attachment. All these kind of functionalities, this will be allowed by the available SDKs, which is also free. So integration steps is very easy. You just need to create the Webex chatbot. You need to have the NSO configured. You need to configure the Ngrok, which is done in few steps. I'm going to show you. Then you develop your simple chatbot script, right? So if you go into the first step, this is how to set up the Webex chatbot. You need to log into the Webex Teams and create your Webex Team account, register for a new bot. You give it a name, you give it some details, and then you will be able to create this Webex bot. It will give you an identification ID or a key. This key will be required to be able to communicate with this chatbot either from your from your script, Python script, or from the chat application. You just need to, this is just a mechanism to tie the integration or chat application with the chatbot and also your integration system. Next is the setup the Ngrok. Ngrok can be downloaded on Windows, can be downloaded on Mac, on Linux. It's very one command that you need to install and set up Ngrok. You just need to identify which port that you are going to be going a tunnel. You're going to create a tunnel for, and then this will give you something like this. As you can see, you have two options. Either you want to use HTTP or HTTPS. If you have any restrict or obligations from the security team to use only HTTPS, this will allow you to also to use an HTTPS link forwarding. Please stop me anytime if you have any questions. If I'm speaking a bit fast, please let me know. Yes. Sorry? Yeah. It installed an NSO server. It's installed in any of the VMs that you have on your local development environment, or or in your data center, anywhere in the data center, right? So the idea is that to bypass or to expose this local server development that you have that will contain the endpoint integration with NSO to the internet, so it will be accessible from the pod, right? Okay, so the chat endpoint script, this is the script that need to be developed locally on your server, and this is the server that need to be exposed by the Ngrok. So you just need to identify a few environment parameters. You need to identify the Python version that you are going to use, the pip. You need to install the Webex Teams bot, the SDK that we have mentioned, and then you need to set some environment parameters. The environment parameters basically are first, you need to identify the Teams bot URL. This is the URL that you're going to get from Ngrok. You can use HTTP or HTTPS. The bot token, this is the token that have been generated on the previous step from the portal. And you have the Teams bot app name. This is the name of your bot that you need to use. And then you are going to develop your own basic script. So as you can see, we're just initializing the class team bot, and we are giving the environment variables that we have identified here, the put name, the token URL, the email, and then you instantiate this by adding a command. This is just a simple command to this will appear once you click on help. For example, on the chat, you'll give this option as do something. Once you click do something, this function will be executed, right? Of course, you can have more comprehensive and advanced chat dialogues, and this is the use of the bots, right? So the bots like AirBot or Webex Chatbot, they can create you more advanced and conversational manner kind of chats, right? Like dialogues, and you can make it more advanced or enrich it as much as you can, right? So in the example that we are going to show you, we are going to show you a full example of one of the use cases that we have delivered, and this will give you the idea what you can achieve. So this is the architecture diagram. Quickly, this is cloud. you have the Webex team bot. This is already in Webex website or cloud. You have the Webex platform, which is the chat application that you are going to use. This can be replaced by any other chat application. And you can see here the messages and reply are being communicated between the chat client and the chatbot. And then once the chatbot receives these messages, it will try to communicate with the local development server, and this is not accessible directly. That's why we need Ngrok to be in between to forward these messages from the chatbot to the local development server. And then the local endpoint, we're going to communicate with NSO asking for services, asking for information that is already configured. NSO will get this information from the network or execute it on the network, and then will respond back to your development environment, and then it will go back to Ngrok and then to the chat. Yes. So you can use NSO machine-to-machine user if you want, or you can integrate also NSO with Active Directory, so you can use an Active Directory user, right? So in our example in the customer side, we have already NSO integrated with TACACS, right? And the user that you are communicating through the APIs are being authenticated and authorized against TACACS. And once this is confirmed, we are able to execute the API endpoint that is consumed by NSO. No, this endpoint, the development environment, because this is the system that is going to consume the APIs, right? You are going to call NSO APIs from this local environment. Okay, we call it Webex endpoint script, right? So this is not required always for the bots that maybe you are going to use AirBot or other bots, right? Because maybe you can have everything on local, right? Maybe you don't have the chatbot on cloud, right? AirBot can be installed on your data center. HuBot can be installed in the data center, so you can have it on-prem. So you don't need Ngrok at all, and this will be all in the same data center, right? Yeah. Okay, so what is a sequence diagram? How these messages are being communicated between the different entities. So as you can see, we have the users or the operation team that is going to use the ChatOps or the chat application or the chatbot. And we have the chatbot itself, which is Webex Chatbot. We have the Ngrok, the man in the middle that forwarding the messages to the public cloud. And we have the chat. This is the Webex Chatbot API endpoint. This is the script that you are going to develop in your local environment. And we have NSO. So once we receive message, or once the operation team send the message from the chat application to the chatbot, the message will be forwarded from the user to the chatbot to the Ngrok to the endpoint, and then we are going to send the request, for example, to NSO to retrieve the ports. For example, in our example, we are going to retrieve the ports available on a specific device. NSO will respond back to the chatbot endpoint. Endpoint will forward the message directly to the chatbot because we don't need Ngrok in between, right? We can access the chatbot APIs directly from our endpoint, local server, into a chatbot, right? Then to be able to forward this message back to the user, we need Ngrok to re-forward the message. So this will give you first of all, it will give you the which device model that you are looking for. Is it Cisco? Is it Nokia? And then it will give you the different services that you can execute to against the network using NSO. As you can see here, we are using Webex cards. You are not even required to type, right, on the chat. You just click, you hover it with the cursor, and you click, you choose whatever you want, right? So let's start. This is the first step. I'm not sure if the video is working or not. Okay, so now it started. So this is the video. As you can see, this is the first step. We just need to write help at the beginning. Let me stop the subtitles. So once you click you send help, this will respond to you with the device type that you are looking for. We clicked on Cisco, and then we clicked on lookup. So this will be the first step. So lookup will ask you for the device name, what device name that you are looking for. This could be device name, this could be device group or domain. And then you are also identifying the gigabit Ethernet speed. This can be 10 gig, 100 gig, whatever type or speed that you are looking for. And this will go send a message to NSO. NSO will query the devices, and it will give you you the details about each port. It will give you the status up and down, protocol, does it have a description or not, has configuration or not, is it reserved by other services or not. All this information you will be able to get on the chatbot, right? So you will simply take a copy of, for example, this port that you want to clean up, right? To use it for the next service. You take a copy and then we move to the next step. So here we're going to click on the next step, which is cleanup, right? So now we have identified the port based on the information that have been retrieved by NSO. We give the device name, we give the interface ID, and then cleanup. This will send again request to NSO. NSO will go and clean up this interface, will identify, will set up the protocol up. It will identify the description. Maybe it will have like standard or template this interface description. So it will be identified by everyone who logs into this device that this port can be used for the upcoming service provisioning, right? Last step is the reservation, right? So this is working. Yeah. So reserve, this will be the final stage. Now we are going to reserve this port. You have identified that you are going to use this port for your upcoming service provisioning. So you identify the device name. You can put here one interface or multiple interfaces if you have multiple interfaces that you want to do in the same transaction. You identify the port name, description that you want to have it. For example, I'm going to reserve this port for the upcoming 5G provisioning on site X, right? And reserve it. Then NSO will send the request back to NSO will be provisioning this interface port with the description that you have mentioned, and this will be concluding the service, right? So that's it. This is just one example of how you can use ChatOps. You can think about, we are here to bridge the gap between operation teams and or DevOps teams and the network, right? So you can think about the daily activities that you are doing day after day, or the NSO services that you want to expose in an easy fashion, or some of the information that will be it makes sense, or it will be making value to be exposed to the executive level, right, or the decision makers. You can do this easily using this kind of integration. It's easy. You can do it in few days. It doesn't require any extra capacity or extra resources or license. It's just a matter of effort and knowledge. And I believe the ChatOps now becoming the new interface for DevOps teams, right? It's very convenient, a very easy way to collaborate and access different information. So if you're looking for more ideas, we as a CX, we are maintaining a use cases repo that will have as of now more than 100 use cases that have been delivered and automated for different customers around the globe, especially in EMER. So if you are a Cisco employee, please have a look on the wiki page. If you are a customer, you can ask your account manager to give you access to this list or share use you an offline version of it. Thank you so much. This is the references. If you can go back to it at any time. Please, if you have any question, please let me know. Thank you.
Let's say there are two types of users, like
Yep.
maybe a right user who can read and user
Yes.
right.
Yep.
Can we do that with this? Like both are using Webex Teams and chat, but they have different powers in NSO.
Yep. So this will be identified by the different privilege or the user accounts that you can create on Webex itself, right? So you can create different users, and these different users, because when you chat, you are chatting from your personal email, right? You're chatting with the chatbot. So once this email ID, this will be propagated through the APIs, maybe an external field, and this can be checked on an NSO side. If we have user X part of this group, or we have this user as part of the group, maybe you can also create this group on the Active Directory, and this can be automatically checked, right? So you can have two levels of Active Directory integration. You can do it from the chat client itself before you reach to the chatbot application or server, or you can do it from NSO side. Once we have the request, we can check which user have requested this service, and based on that we can respond. Either we respond or we reject the request. Yeah. But it's interesting ask, yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Because everyone has access to Webex Teams,
Yeah.
but not everyone has equal rights on the network.
Correct.
So how do you, there must be either control at the chat level itself or in the Ngrok.
Yes.
Say we are using Active Directory, like you said.
Yes.
The Active Directory is authenticating me.
Yep.
But inside NSO, what is my authorization?
Yes. So this is in the customer side. What we are doing, we are propagating this user through the API call, and we are checking this API against the Active Directory. What are the users that are allowed? For example, this operation team, we could have admin group, we could have users group for operation team, right? So we check this user against which group it is part of. If it is part of admin group, then maybe he can delete, right? Or he can, for example, reserve, or he can clean up, right? Other users, maybe they can only request for a port, or can retrieve information and so on. Yeah. So we can have different level of operations based on the groups. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
In your example, in the chat, you were using these forms to select
Webex card.
interfaces, and it was giving you two interfaces. But then in the next form, you had to type
Yes.
the interface and the details and
No.
the device.
In the other form that will be presented using this Webex card, you need to enter, yes, you need to enter the device name, you need to enter the port, right? We can have more advanced option that to have, for example, these devices as a drop down. This can be also configured on the bot.
Python, or what do you do?
Yeah, Python. We're using Python and the Webex Bot SDK. Yeah. So these options are available on the SDK. Yep. Thank you so much.